Hey, what's up guys? Get ready, because dark times are coming for Shadow Priest. You see, Father Blizzard is angry, he's pissed, and he's swinging his nerf hammer around. And this time, it was Shadow Priest, got the full swing of it, and we're getting nerfed. Feels bad, man. So last night, wait, was it last night or 2 nights ago? Anyway, in the last update for the 7.2.5 PTR, there were some changes for Shadow Priests, finally, because everyone's been asking for changes. Hey, what's up with Shadow Priests? Aren't we getting any changes? And Blizzard was like, you want changes? You got them. Everything's getting nerfed, boys. Now, first of all, let me tell you the story of how like the life of a Shadow Priest, okay? So this is the life of a Shadow Priest in Arena. It's similar in RPGs, but it's a little bit different in RPGs. So in Arena, a Shadow Priest is a very happy person when he gets to stay behind a pillar or close to a pillar and just dot everything. Okay, let's play Misery. Actually, no, let's not play Misery. So I'm dotting this guy and I'm dotting this guy and I'm super happy. I'm doing so much damage. See, everyone's dotted and I'm calling it out. I'm saying everyone has dots, doing insane damage. We're going into Void from soon. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. Void Explosion, Void Eruption, whatever it's called. And now we're free casting. We're doing insane damage. Everyone's rotting. Healers can't keep up. That's the healer right there. He's getting silenced. He's wrecked. I'm putting my Shadow Fiend on him. We're swapping to the healer. Mind bomb him. Well, it was a little bit late, but doesn't matter because he's a bad healer. He's not dispelling. And he's going down. Like, meanwhile, his team is rotting. Okay, I'm doing a terrible job keeping my dots up where I'm actually disgustingly bad. But you know what I mean. And I actually lost my Void Torrent because I'm playing terrible, but I should have Void Torrented in the end there. And I'm a happy Shadow Priest. I'm doing so much damage. I'm topping numbers, you know. Yay, we won the video game. But that's not the reality, is it? You and I know the reality is much more dire. It's much more dark. So this is how it actually feels like.
Yeah. Gonna try and get a clone. Got it. Gonna give you innovate.
I finally was able to cast VP and clone them. I'm so sad. Like I got 0 dots so far. I'm kicked again. I'm dead.
They're gonna go now again?
I'm dead. I'm gonna
Stop.
Still dead.
Ah!
Still dead!
What?
He killed me twice.
So the thing is, it really depends on what kind of team you're playing against. If you're playing against something like Turbo Cleave, especially Turbo Cleave with a Holy Paladin right now, and they sit on you and their entire goal is to shut you down, then that is literally a 2 versus 3. Literally. You have to go through Wind Shear, Pummel, Stormbolt. They can even fear you as a mean to interrupt you. And when you finally manage to get some dots out, the Holy Pala can just press Dispel once and dispel 3 targets. And even when they have nothing left, the warrior can press Duel on you and you do 50% less damage to everyone except the warrior. And guess what? The warrior is gonna pop Spell Reflect, so you do no damage on him whatsoever. Basically, your gameplay becomes from what I showed you before to this. Faking. You just fake. Okay, you got through all the kicks. Oh, you got a dot up! Fucking feels good, man! It gets dispelled. You're sad. Oh, you have to disperse because you're dead. Okay, coming out early. Oh, you got kicked. Shield. So where am I going with this? So basically, okay, let's. It's all coming together now, okay? So the problem with Shadow Priests is not damage. Well, it is damage. As I said, you have to train the Shadow Priest if you play like some sort of melee cleave. Like, if you see a Shadow Priest and you're not focusing the Shadow Priest as a melee cleave, then I think you're doing it wrong. Unless you can kill something faster than that, like you can sometimes kill healers with some comps. But anyway, you know, Shadow Priests do insane damage when they're left alone. Insane, like broken damage. I'm the first one to say Shadow Priest damage is completely broken when they can free cast. So you must shut them down. So you go on the Shadow Priest. But as double melee, or even as a 1 melee and some ranged, priests become borderline, like extremely. They're very easily to shut down. They're very easy to shut down. Especially, again, it really depends on what comp you play. So that's why I kind of want to avoid saying, you know, it's easy to shut down and we do no damage, because it's not true. Like, even when I get shut down, I can still deal pretty good damage, and I'm usually top on the scoreboard unless I play with an Affliction Warlock. But I mean, it depends. If it's a warrior and like a shaman and the Holy Pala, and they really focus on shutting you down, and yeah, you're easy to shut down and you do no damage. But here's where it's all coming together. All right. So right now, Shadow Priest works in such a way that wait, spoilers there. Shadow Priest works in such a way that if you manage to do damage, if you manage to actually PvE in a sense and put your dots up on everyone, then you're fine. You're golden. You do a lot of damage and you do a lot of healing. You're tanky. So people shut you down and they go on you, one, to shut down your damage, because your damage is, you know, it's very heavy if it doesn't get dispelled or shut down. And two, because you're easy to shut down, and if you get shut down and you do no damage, then you also become squishier, so it's even more of an, you know, incentive to actually get trained. And yeah, that's how it is, and you should get trained. Like, yeah, if you're a melee out there, go ahead and train the Shadow Priest. You should. It's the most efficient way of winning the game. But in the next patch, it's gonna be an even more. You're gonna have an even bigger target on you, kind of, in a sense. So if you manage to get because you will get there, but an overall idea of the nerfs is our self-healing is getting nerfed. And the thing is, if you manage to put look at that warrior going ham. If you manage to put your dots up on everything and be as offensive as possible, then like your job is done already, and it doesn't really matter if you're getting shut down or not. You know, because like you manage to do your thing, you can just kite around a little bit. You know, if you manage to keep dots on everything and stay in long void forms, then you're fine. Like it doesn't matter if you get trained or not. But if you do get trained, that means, you know, even less damage and even less healing, because the little damage you do, you know, you get even a less reward in a sense for it. So you're even easier not to shut down, but you're easier to train because you become squishier. It's basically it. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not a big deal, okay? It's not a big deal that the self-healing is getting nerfed, okay? Because if you get shut down, you get shut down just as much. And the self-healing that you got from, you know, dotting everyone is still strong, even though it got nerfed. But the healing you got from, you know, the times you were getting shut down was 0. So 0 is just as bad as 0. That's what I'm saying. It's not a big deal. But let's talk about talents, okay? Now the only buff, don't get used to this, it's Mindbender. Mindbender, I love it. I love the new Mindbender. It generates 8 insanity each time it attacks instead of 4. Which in my book puts it on par with Power Infusion when it comes to insanity generation, if not even better. Now Power Infusion gets you to higher insanity levels if you can free cast, if you can completely PvE. But I mean, it's, you know, you get shut down, you can't do that. So Mindbender is your option. Now Mindbender itself, if you pop it, it's gonna easily get you 65 insanity, which is enough for a void form. But the way I recommend you use Mindbender, I don't know, sometimes I say Psyfiend instead of Mindbender, forgive me. If I say Psyfiend, I meant Mindbender. So normally, the way I use Mindbender is I try to wait for like 15 stacks-ish. So I'm gonna wait for 15 stacks, approximately, you know, or maybe 10 because it's PvP. And then you pop Mindbender, and the Mindbender is gonna get you through. Let's simulate PvP, okay? So we're not actually I'm not gonna PvE. I'm not gonna press Shadow Word Pain or Mind Blast as much because I would get kicked, you know. So I fake here. Okay, so you do this. You shield yourself. You get one Shadow Word Pain, and we're at like 33 stacks, which is like normally you wouldn't get this far. 36 stacks. In PvP you would stop a lot sooner than that, but then your Mindbender would help you get to the next void form a lot. Like right now I didn't do it properly, but usually I try to clip the Mindbender so it gets maybe 3 or 4 seconds outside of void form. Let me show you how to do it like properly, okay? What I meant by clipping Mindbender. So first I'm gonna get into void form. Okay, Void Form. One day I'll get there. I'm gonna dot this other guy because I'm playing Shadow Mania. We wanna simulate PvP. Alright, there we go. So you're in Void Form. And again, like it depends, you need to like read the situation. Sometimes you get to cast more, sometimes you don't. Sometimes all you can do is just a Void Bolt in Void Form. That's a pretty sad scenario, but it happens. So let's say you're like 17, you're at 17 stacks, and then you pop your Mindbender. See, there it was. So you do some damage, and you kite a bit, you do one of these, you run a bit more, you juke. Okay, and now you have like 7 seconds of Mindbender still. Let's say I'm not casting too much. See, I'm just juking, I'm not casting anything. And you're already at next Void Form. Bam. You know what I mean? And like, now you don't have Mindbender, but it's like, it has 30 seconds left. So you're gonna sit in this Void Form for as long as you can, whatever, you do your stuff, you get trained, oh no, you have to disperse. You're coming out, you also have this sustained sanity, you're still in Void Form, you're still doing some nice damages. Still in Void Form, holy PogChamp. And okay, let's say we lost Void Form here. And now, you know, you have 10 seconds left on Mindbender. So you might, like, you can start grinding some insanity again. And, like, there's a lot of ways, or like a lot of options you have. You can use Mindbender to help you get to the Void Form faster, because I can just pop it like this with 0 haste, which is not recommended, but you can do it. And then you pop Void Form, bam. If you can't cast, you can use that. I feel like Mindbender is very versatile. It's a lot better option than Power Infusion, especially since it gets Dispeller. I mean, of course, Power Infusion, if they have no Dispeller, Power Infusion is crazy. 25% haste, oh, gimme. You know what I mean? It's really good. But Mindbender is a bit more versatile. I like it a lot. But now, let's get depressed together. Hold my hand. Because here we go. So Void Shield, nerfed. Fleeting Embrace, nerfed. Driven to Madness, nerfed. Shadow Mania, nerfed. Mind Trauma, nerfed. Everything is nerfed. All the self-healing is gone. So Void Shield, it says damage dealt by Vampiric Touch is not affected. That's the big one. That's the big one for RBGs. Again, in RBGs, you get to dot everything with VT and all that. And then whenever you get attacked, you press shield, you get insane healing from all those Vampiric Touches and the Void Shield itself from the Vampiric Touches. So it's crazy. And plus, if you look at the damage you deal in Arena or RBGs or anything, you know that, you know, Vampiric Touch is maybe 50% of all your damage. So losing that is like losing half of the effectiveness of Void Shield, which would make it like a 15% like damage to heal conversion, which is crap. Okay, it's shit. I would be really surprised if people still use this after the nerf. I think it's garbage now, actually. I think it's bad. Fleeting Embrace got nerfed as well. It no longer affects 3 targets, it's just 1 target as it used to be. And Fleeting Embrace, I feel like it would be really good if you want to peel, if you want to use it for someone else, not for yourself, because again, we still have that okay healing with Vampiric Touch and self-healing with like Shadow Man and Shield itself to not matter, like damage over time. Whereas Pure Shadow is more of the kind of burst defense that we need. You know that when you press Dispersion with Pure Shadow, you're not gonna die and you're actually gonna gain a lot of HP. It's good for our healers, and you can use the second part of Pure Shadow, which, you know, makes your Void Form not drain insanity for 6 seconds, and that's 6 seconds of, you know, it's basically 6% haste that you get for free for a while. So it's not bad. I think Pure Shadow is going to be the go-to talent here for PvP now. Now Driven to Madness is also getting nerfed from 12% insanity over 3 seconds down to 9. And well, there's not much to do about it. I feel like people who play Driven to Madness and people who like Driven to Madness are still going to play it. It's nerfed quite a lot, but what can you do? It's much worse than it is on live right now. But I mean, life is life, you know? What can you do? Take it or leave it. There's not much to be said here. It sucks. But you do have stuff like Mindbender to help you anyway. But I personally really like Void Origins. I've always been a fan of playing Void Origins with Mindbender. And now that Mindbender is so much better than it used to be, I feel like I'm gonna stay Void Origins, so I'm not really bothered by this. Though it is a big nerf. There you have it. And then I'm gonna save Mind Trauma for last. Shadow Mania no longer increases the healing you get from Vampiric Touch. This is again really big, and again it's gonna affect RBG people more than arena players. It does affect arena players, but like I don't want to repeat myself. You know, if you get your vampiric touches out and you do your pressure properly, you will still be you'll be fine, okay? So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, take it or leave it. It is what it is. It sucks for RBGs. It sucks for arena as well, but I guess arena is just the casualty of that, maybe. Now let's move on to mind trauma. And like, I want to say one more thing before we go into mind trauma. So about self-healing in general. I feel like Shadow Priests were indeed healing way too much, like on the scoreboard. If you're not playing a Shadow Priest, I think if I weren't playing a Shadow Priest, I'd be really pissed at that. I'd see a Shadow Priest do almost as much healing as a healer, and I'd say, you know, what the hell, like that's broken. But you gotta consider that we have 0 mobility, we're easy to shut down sometimes, and we take the full damage of a melee. We do have 10% reduced physical damage in Shadow form, but guess what? Once you press Void form, I mean, some people don't even know this, when you press Void form, you no longer have the 10% physical damage taken. So you take the full on damage as a Clot user. We have no snares, no slows, you know, like insert depressive thoughts here. So it's bad. So the healing we had was the only kind of defense we had against being trained. And even then it wasn't, most of the times it wasn't enough. But anyway, that's like an overall idea, you know. Would be nice to have some sort of mobility buffs. Let's talk about Mind Trauma now. Mind Trauma, I'm not sure if this like they changed it now, or if it was like this from the beginning, but I realized it's not as good as I hoped it would be. So the haste you get is actually stolen haste, right? And as I've said before, the buff we get is not dispellable, but the debuff you put on the enemy is dispellable. It's a magic effect, and you know, a healer can just dispel this. And the problem is, shut up. I'm gonna dot this guy. Okay, so this guy is on focus right here. You see him? He has 2 stacks. Whenever he gets dispelled, I lose the 2 stacks that I got from him. So you can struggle to get, you know, 10 stacks for one, because obviously in PvP you're not gonna be able to do what I'm doing now. You're not gonna be able to sit there and spam Mind Flay because you still get kicked all the time. So see, it went from 10 to 8 because this guy lost his stacks. So if this guy gets dispelled, I lose all the stacks. And again, like, you can't stay there, and even if you could stay there and spam Mind Flay as I'm doing right now, you'd be wasting so much time. Like by the time you get all this done, even if you never get kicked, like, you lose so much pressure, you know, your team is already dead, you have to disperse and all that. I mean, granted, you wouldn't just sit there and press Mind Flay all the time. You would also like Vampiric Touch and do other things. But it takes a really long time to actually get these stacks up. And, you know, if they can get removed by just a simple dispel, well, he's an enemy. If a healer can just dispel this and you lose all your work, then that's really pointless. So my suggestion would be, I know nobody cares about my suggestion, it's not gonna happen, but it would make a lot more sense if Mind Trauma would stack 3% at a time. Maybe even 5, but 5 might be too much. I think 5 is too much. Maybe 3 at a time. And then, you know, you don't have to stay at max stacks. You can just get it once. You get 3%, which is not a big deal, but it helps a little bit. You get 2 of them, that's pretty PogChamp, that's 6% that they can, you know, they lose 6% haste, so they actually do need a dispel at that point. And then if you get 1 more, that's 9%, that's crazy. You really need to dispel your teammates at that point, what are you doing? And then you force the dispel, you have Vampiric Touch, and it like creates some nice playstyle, you know? You force it, like, you have to dispel, or this guy has, you know, 9%, it would be less haste. I have too much haste. You know, but the way it is now, like, you would never get to cast these things so much. Like, when do you have the time to spam Mind Flay like this? You know what I mean? So that's my suggestion. Make it stack 3% at a time. I don't think it would be broken. I think it would be the best talent on this tier if it would be 3%. Best talent, clearly. Psychic Link is still crap. I don't think it's worth it. Its damage is very bad. It's nice in RBGs, I suspect. It's nice when you wanna like cheese and Void Bolt flags, like I've showed you. Like I've shown you. But other than that, in Arena it's kinda garbage. So realistically, I think I'll just stick to Shadowmania. I'm not a big fan of it. It's very passive and boring. I really like the idea of Mind Trauma, but I'm gonna give Mind Trauma a couple of tries, but I don't think it's gonna be as good. I really don't. It's too slow. It's way too slow, and it's easily counterable. But that's pretty much it for the changes. Now, you know, Shadow Priests are getting a little bit of a nerf defensively, but our damage stays the same, so we're still competitive. And here's the thing, a lot of other classes are changing. I'm not sure what people are getting. I have no idea. I just know that, for instance, mages lose their blink immunity, their immunity to spells when they blink, which is, you know, indirectly a big buff to Shadow Priests, because now you can actually silence them on like sheep attempts. You can mind control them on it. You can do damage to them on it, even though it's 50% less damage. But let's be honest, no one's gonna play with that talent. So a lot of things are changing. And again, I don't know what other classes are getting, but I'm sure the meta is gonna change a little bit. So these changes for Shadow Priests with healing are not a huge deal. You're not gonna see insane numbers from healing from Shadow Priests in BGs, especially in BGs. But that's fine. I think that's okay. Again, I would love to see some sort of mobility boss. Maybe, as everyone is suggesting, even Melee suggests that they make Fade do something. Fade is completely useless in PvP. There's no point of pressing Fade at all. Like, if we're talking about pruning, why not prune Fade? Oh, because it's good in PvE. Okay. So it removes your threat for 10 seconds. It's like, at least if it would work against pets, but it doesn't. So a lot of people are saying make Fade, like suppress movements like slows, movement impairing effects, or be like a small haste or something like that. But no, it does literally nothing in PvP. It doesn't even cost mana. If it cost mana, you could at least use it to bait a DK's Dark Simulacrum. That would be the only reason. But then you can just use Fade. I mean, Levitate. Wait, Levitate doesn't cost mana either. God damn it. So yeah, that's all I have to say. What do you guys think of the changes? Are you guys depressed? Do you guys play RBGs a lot and you're sad that, you know, you're gonna die now? You're actually gonna die because you still do the same damage, but you die quicker. Oh well, feels bad, man. Times change, but I hope you guys are gonna still enjoy playing Shadow, even though it's might not be the best in the current meta. Anyway, tell me what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. And stay optimistic.